Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You've reached the Boho Info Show. And today we've got a special show for you guys, kind of in disguise on the title because of the way their censorship on YouTube is. We're going to try something out. If it don't work, we'll record it on another platform. And you guys got the links on all the platforms that I use that are anti censoring platforms. If you don't have it, you can go to two places to get those links. That's in my Twitter, okay, and then the other place is over in YouTube with some links. Pay attention to the pictures. Links are in there. Da 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 da. All right. Before we start the show, we make no claims on anything medically, legally, or otherwise. Take everything we say with a grain of salt. Do your own research. You might come up with the same thing that we have. And you just never know what we talk about, but we talk about current events. And the reason why we got to talk about it is because evidently nothing's moving forward. In fact, it's going backwards. And evidently we have a bunch of rhinos in our politics that needs to be replaced and or, dealt with amongst the corruption. So we're going to talk about current events, kind of like when you go to social studies class, I guess maybe in school, I don't know, or college, whichever. But these are things that we need to talk about, and YouTube doesn't realize that we need to talk about these types of platforms or these types of subjects in order for us to move forward and progress society, whether we're in one country or another country or whatever. And we need to talk about these things because people are finding out the truth little by little, and they're thinking, okay, well, everybody's saying not the truth, well, until they raise their own question. You got to question things. Once they question things, then they go out and research it, and then things pop up and they're like, oh yeah, maybe they were right. Oh yeah, she was right. Oh yeah, all that kind of thing. So it is what it is. Anyway, we've been doing stuff like this for over 2 years. Just online wise, research wise, I've done this probably since the 70s. I started. So I've got a long forte of different types of research and things that we've done. We've been on different shows and so on. But anyway, so yeah, we wanted to get into the title of things of what was going on. And so we're going to get into it and talk about some topics. I'm going to leave the chat room open for you guys to make comments or talk to each other or whatever you want to do. Or if you want to ask questions, you can do that too. Interesting day. All right. So before we get going, I want to get into talking a little bit about how they're protecting or blocking some journalists in beds around the UK area country. And if I say words differently, it's because of YouTube censorship. Okay. And everybody's asking me about that too before I get started into the program. They're like, why is you and the Marfugel show and other people, changing their words around and all this stuff? It's because of censorship. Now, whether someone's just listening to your program and they're censoring you, I don't know. But here's the thing I've been finding out. And I'm really shocked that Marfugel's guy Dex there didn't find it, but because he's a tech person. But all of Silicon Valley right now is being hooked up to AI. And you can find out if they're being hooked up by AI with the censorship, because the censorship is going through that AI programming and censoring it that way using their AI programming. And so you saw first Facebook went down, people were getting booted off. Then all of a sudden you saw YouTube, and then you saw other places. It's because they're being all hooked up to the AI programming. Pretty soon, all those people that are in tech jobs are going to lose all their tech jobs because they're being replaced by AI technology. Now, whether that's a good thing or bad thing, I think it's a bad thing. That's my personal opinion, because through all my shows, I give my personal opinion on anything and everything that we talk about at the moment of what we're talking about. And who knows, it could change later if I find something changing on that story. But Yeah, it's not a good thing because whether you guys know it, I even have older generation people saying, what is AI? AI is basically a self thinking, correcting program that can learn at the same time. So if it learns and it makes a mistake, it learns from its mistake so it don't make it again. You understand? It's an automated program. Okay. And this is what all of Silicon Valley is being hooked up with. You're seeing even grocery stores with the technology where they're eye scanning, retina scanning, or whatever over there in Washington on the West Coast, Seattle area, I'm hearing, and other places. And I have to touch this before I get into all my other stories. But we have to touch on base that it's not a good thing when the human life form or any life form can't self think for themselves, and they've got to rely on a automated or a computer program to do it for them. And here's the thing: the younger generation, that is what I'm worried about, because right now they think all their groceries come from the grocery store. They have no clue where it's coming from on a farm anywhere in the world. Okay. Um, and it goes with the same thing of, oh, all of a sudden, we've got an automobile, it's made. I don't know how it was made, you know, because it's the way our education programs here in the US, especially, I'm going to focus on, is raising kids of all ages in different grade schools to not be able to self think or question things on their own individual basis. Once that happens, then they're going to rely on what? Computers, AI technology, other stuff that will do it for them. I don't know if you guys remember, if you're in the 70s and you happen to be in school. This is for the, I don't know, older class people, I guess. That all of a sudden they introduced calculators. Remember the Commodore 64, and they introduced calculators, and you go to math with your, what is it, Texas Instrument, and you had to be shown how to use it, right? And then all of a sudden it self-think your calculations for you. And nowadays, this is just a normal tool that you take to school with you, like a pencil or a pen. And it helps you do your homework. And you can use it on tests. Now, think about that with what's going on with AI right now. It's the same thing. Right? And trust me, I'm not one to throw the stone, okay? I mean, I know I've got my hang-ups with learning right along with anybody else of different things, okay? But it's something that a lot of people don't realize until later in life when they look back and or see the mistakes that they've done, right? And at that time, you didn't have any other resources, right? You didn't know, you know? But I think it's interesting as philosophy, psychologically, whatever it is, to look at these kind of things, because people rely on someone else too much. They and individuals out there do not question things, especially the younger generation. I have met so many college kids that I would consider idiots. They're going for, their nursing degrees, or they're going to school for some kind of medical thing because they think that's where they're going to make the money. All they're looking at is the holy dollar of making money. But they don't realize the consequences that comes with that. And you're going to say, well, what do you mean? And I'm going to say, well, right now we've got this COVID, whether it's fake, real, whatever you want to be. Okay, whatever side of the fence you want to be on. Okay. They don't realize that they're going to have to take and be forced that CV pump in the arm, right? because they're becoming a nurse or some kind of medical person. Now, if they're going to school to learn to be some kind of medical person, whether it's an assistant, a nurse, a doctor, a lab worker, an x-ray person, whoever it is, they have to learn how to use all that stuff, right? Why aren't they researching what's inside the pump in the arms that they're getting? That's what I'm talking about, having a stupid medical society of kids, younger generation, that us older folks are supposed to rely on them to take care of us when we're old. Now, that raises a big question, and it should raise a big question with you guys out there. Okay? I don't know. I mean, it's something to think about, right? I'm just saying. All right. Now, the other thing is we're going to talk about what's happening here with the Ukrainian country, right? And there's a lot of stuff happening. Some of you guys seen the Mark Vogel show. They saying, okay, things have touched base in Poland and da-da-da-da and all this stuff. And yeah, let's learn about the geographical stuff that's happening, because this could be a good learning curve, maybe a bad learning curve, but a good learning curve for those that don't know geological or geography kind of stuff over there in the Europe area, right? So let this be an educational thing, maybe. I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff happening out in that area. And I've been reading a lot of stuff, listening to a lot of people. And here's the thing. Russia wants to put a pipeline through Ukraine so they can take it out to the ocean there, which is the Atlantic, so they can sell it, trade it, whatever they're going to do with it. I don't know. Okay. So that's basically like putting a pipeline from in the United States all the way up to Alaska. Well, you know what happened with the Biden regime. They shut down the pipeline, right? From the east to west coast kind of thing of the U.S. So maybe this is why Biden wants to do some havoc against, the situation with Russia, because they don't want Russia to have control. Now, think about that before I get into some of this other stuff that deals with the Russia crap. You have to look at where Biden's stocks and investments are in. They're in oil, gas, and reserves, amongst other things, but they got a huge portion. A lot of the Democrats have huge portions into oil reserves and things like that. And you're going to say, well, how did you find that out? Well, it's just very easy. You guys got to reverse the money trails on all your politicians. You find this stuff, okay? Very simple, okay? And for those that are late to the thing and they're just now waking up, well, you're just going to have to learn about it and catch up, okay? Anyway, so here it is, and Mark Vogel News there, he's freaking out because, yes, we have a lot of military, both in his group, my group, and everybody's group. We have a lot of military listening to us, amongst other things. And, worried about your, colleague and so on. It goes beyond that, though. Here's the thing. They're trying to put a pipeline through, okay? Even my father being ex-military saying the same thing. They're trying to put an oil pipeline through the Ukrainian country, okay, so that they can move their oil from Russia over to export, basically over into the Atlantic, okay? Now, they're like saying, well, if, the Arabian people can do that, why can't we? Because, they have that over there in their own sea, right? So it's basically a trade situation. Yet we're going to war over other bullshit that's really covering the underlying belly problem, which is that. On top of that, a lot of people also don't realize that Putin and Trump were very good, close together kind of thing. And I'm not saying they're in collusion with each other, they're not friends or whatever, but they were good business people, right? Now, I'm just saying, questioning and putting it out there. Right now, you guys know about how the situation with Trump and how they're going after the T-Man and supposedly seizing a lot of his top secret stuff that he has supposedly in Mar-Largo, right? I mean, who's to say some of the Russia stuff's over there, and who's to say, I don't know, whatever. But I'm not speculating. I'm not, saying what he's got because I don't know. I have no clue. All I know is he's got enough info. Here's the thing. If you guys look back on your news history, not just mine, but other people, remember all the emails and all the hard drives and all the information supposedly they got from the January 6th that their Democrats are so regime against and they're going after and attacking people for, okay, and putting them in wherever. It's that kind of thing. The Democrats are protecting their own information, and they don't like when someone else has their information. And remember, around the election time and when, the T-Man supposedly on their Democratic level lost, okay, but he really won, that he had all that information, okay? Well, Democrats didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to get at it. Well, now they brought in the alphabet soup that starts with an F, since they're just as corrupt as the Democrats, to go in there and seize all their stuff, right? All of his stuff, T-Man stuff. So in the midst of that, of course, and here's the thing, it's all from the National Archive. And I don't know how many of you guys know it or not, but any of you guys out there that are listening to me, any of you guys can go online and go into the National Archives. All of it, if you want to. Some of it you might have to ask for special instructions to get to certain things, but you might be able to get it, you know what I'm saying? But it's in there. But here's the thing. Here's what the alphabet soup failed at, right along with the Democrats. Do you know all the stuff that they seized? There's copies of that overseas. And probably, I'm going to say New Zealand or other places. Okay? If it isn't there, it's in other places. I mean, you got to remember, T-Man is not stupid. He's basically setting the trap, letting them come get that information because it was a trap set for the traders and the what's the word I want to use? Corrupt alphabet soup agencies along with the corrupt Democrats. He's basically set the trap for them to come get that information. So now they taken it. Guess what? Bait and hook and bake. You know what I'm saying? They got it. He got them, basically. Okay? Because there's copies of it overseas. Now, here's the other thing. I'm just saying, what if there's copies in it overseas somewhere? I'm just going to say that. Okay? Here's the thing, though. Okay? With the situation going on with the Europe area, with Ukrainian and Russian and all them, okay? Biden is protecting his financial assets for him and his son, since him and his son made special trade deals as well as regular deals with Ukraine. And in order to do that, what you got to do? Protect Ukraine. Why does Russia want to come in? Well, here's the thing. Putin hates the Bidens. He'd eat them like for an appetizer, honestly. And you know that. I think many of you guys listening to me know that. But it's getting really interesting to see how, not only just how corrupt and where the mafia lines lie and who's who, okay? But at the same time, it's kind of really interesting to see how this power that they have on whatever level, okay, low to high, has really made them and turned them into idiots, where they're repeating the same mistakes over and over and over. And I'm not just talking about the Democrats, I'm talking about anything on that left side. Even with their money, you can see the same mistakes over and over and over. They're doing the same thing with their money. Well, this is one of those things where if Biden goes in the Ukraine, that's going to be a major, major problem for him, the Democrats, as well as his financial situation. Okay. Now, let's say, who to say, that Russia is not only knowing all this, okay, but and on top of it, the second thing, he does not like the Democrats, let alone Biden and all them. He'd eat them for appetizers, especially Biden and his family. But the third thing is knowing all this stuff. Maybe this was an actual planned event by the T-Man. Now, think about this. I know this is something really big to question and really think about deeply about. But what if this European thing that's about to happen, where everybody, like the Marfugo show, saying, oh, it's going to be World War III. We already got military being chucked over there for a special mission and all this stuff. Yeah, that's great. But who's to say this was a planned event by the T-Man? Okay? Knowing that the T-Man baited the alphabet soup agency that starts with F, right along with the rest of them, and the Democrats to come take the evidence, which is all of his National Archive crap, right? And they took it. So now they are in, what do you call it, in possession of this stuff that's going to make them all go down. Okay. But on top of it, he's already made the deal with Putin that if he can't get Biden and the Democrats, Putin is going to do it. And Putin, guess what, made a deal with China. So China is double crossing the Democrats. They don't know it yet. No matter what kind of shit comes out of their mouths, pardon my French, but no matter what kind of crap comes out of their mouth, China is going to double cross the Democrats. Because he's going to be on sides with who? Putin. Why Putin? Because Putin has the biggest oil reserve in that area. You follow me? Then Putin is going to go after the Democrats, especially Mr. Biden there and his family and Harris and all the Democrats, Pelosi, Schumer. He's going to go after them. He's probably already got, what do you call it, spies or whatever they call them here, and they're already infiltrated probably the White House right now. I'm just saying. And they could sit here and do backgrounds and they can scan them and they can do whatever they want to do. But Russia is connected to the Czech when it comes to mafia stuff. And they have probably as high sequence of stuff like the Asian mafia. Okay. And it far exceeds any level of security when it comes to the highest clearance in the U.S. Especially when it deals with stuff like that with the White House, where the White House could get breached. I'm just saying. I'm just questioning. I'm just saying. So just questioning things. But it could be very possible that we're looking at that. And that's why you're seeing this little buildup. You're saying, and Putin saying, oh no, this is just war games. Think about it. Okay? Just think about it. Put two and two together. Kind of connect the dots there a little bit. You know what I mean? But anyway, so let's talk about a little bit about this stuff, right? So, all right, we talked about that. Let's see. And then remember the Afghan thing? Well, Afghans, how many thousands of miles away from Russia? Think about that. With them dropping and Biden leaving, what is it, over $600 billion worth of military equipment and shit behind? You see what I'm saying? Now, where did that military equipment go to? That region. But who's to say someone over there, just like the Benghazi shit, traded crap over to the Ukraine so the Ukraine has something, or other people around there? Think about it. Yeah, I know it's getting really dense, isn't it? But it's questioning these things we got to question about, right? All right, now here's the other thing. All right, I just want to see who was in there. If you guys want to chat in the chat room, go ahead, or otherwise you got questions, put in the comment areas. Here's the other thing. And we got to question things, right? We got to question things as we're going through and processing all the current events, right? Here's the other thing, okay? So if they left over $600 billion worth of military equipment over in Afghan, told all our troops come on back home, okay? Reorganizing kind of thing to maybe shift over to the Ukraine thing because, you know, Biden has a oil interest and he's got massive amounts of investment there right along with his son, made deals and all this crap, you know, and he's not the only one. Guess who else? Obama, Clinton's. You just go reverse those money trails. You'll find it, okay? But here's the other thing, okay? Little by little, anything that's connected to NATO, you could almost watch Democrats and their trails at, okay? I don't know if you guys know that or not. But look at all the different NATO connections and nations that are connected to NATO, and then connect the Democrats to any of these NATO nations. You'll see different kinds of trade deals made or major investments. And just recently, what was it? Wasn't it Pelosi? Pelosi made a thing where no politician can have investments. Gee, what are they going to do with Biden then? Biden invested in oil over there in Ukraine, Mrs. Pelosi. I mean, think about that. But you know what she was trying to get after? This is what Pelosi and how corrupt Pelosi is. What she was trying to get after is Trump. And Trump's family. Even though Trump wasn't running any companies, what happened? The other family people were. Think about that. She's trying to, attack what they call deep state wise to Trump and doing these different kinds of reactions, but she's not realizing how much it mirrored back to their Democratic Party and are going to attack their own individuals there. Look at how many Democrats have done already investment in trading. And granted, yeah, there's some rhinos that did it too. But do you see, every time they attack, the Democrats attack a Republican, I don't care how high or low their status is, it also gets re-attacked where karma comes back in and karma goes back after the Democrats and it reverses on them. It's such an interesting thing to see in this time and age of all the mass chaos that's happening. It's like you need someone like me to kind of look at these things to say, wow, yeah, maybe that's what's really going on, I'm just saying. You guys know through my show or towards the end of the show, I will post all my links to my information of where I get my subjects from, and I'll do that towards the end of the show. But yeah. All right, so let's talk about the Marfugel news show where they said U.S. jet landed in Poland. So yeah, we're going to go into that real quick here. And we're going to talk a lot about military stuff today because it deals with a lot of stuff that's happening that's kind of being pushed on the front burner. Because remember, the COVID thing has failed with the Democrats. Little by little, mask mandates are coming down. CDC and WOW and all of them are getting busted with the pumps in the arm. So, and all the politicians on the left side as well. But, it is what it is. So now what do they got to do? Try to do a war. The control freaks on the left got to do a war, So, all right. So U.S. fighter lands jets in Poland. So they got F-15 fighter jets in Poland. and it's NATO allies. But they said the jets arrived in Poland as American, and its NATO allies seek bolster defenses along with alliances of eastern flank ahead of its potential military conflict between the Russia and the Ukraine area. And it says U.S. Air Force F-15 fighters landed, and NATO policy mission Eastern Flank Alliance and Poland delegation to NATO was said on Twitter. So this was a quote from Twitter. Also in a statement from the European Command, F-15s and the 48th Fighter Wing of Royal Air Force Lothen at United Kingdom will work alongside with Polish and Danish F-16s, executing their air policy mission from Saila, I guess, Air Base in Lithuania. And it says Air Force General Harrigan, commander of the U.S. Forces of Europe and Forces of Africa, stated that deployment elevates to collection defense capabilities of NATO's eastern flank and enhances the air policy missions. Now, before I go further into this article, you guys got to realize this is the same area where World War II happened, right? Or World War I, sorry, wrong one. You know which one I'm talking about. This is the same area. It's all boiling down to the NATO thing. Now, did anybody really investigate NATO? Is it good or is it bad? Now, you guys on the surface can say, oh, yeah, it's good. We're all helping each other. Well, there's more to it than that. That's for another show, though. We'll deal with that another time. Anyway, it says here, NATO been scrambling bolstered defenses both in Russia and amid over 100,000 troops in the Ukraine area and sparked fears that Kremlin may launch military offenses. It says that U.S. deploying over 2,000 troops to Poland and Germany, which is 1,700 from the 82nd Airborne Division from North Carolina, are being deployed to Poland. Another 1,000 troops repositioned from Germany to Romania. Now, I know I got bosses from that area, and they're worried. And I'm not here to spark a war because of my family background or differences or anything else like that. But this is what it is, you know. Now, you're going to say, well, how bad is it going to get? Well, that has a few things yet to be played out yet. And there's about 3 or 4 things yet to happen to see how it's going to play out. Anyway, it says here, American troops landed near Poland, Ukraine area on Saturday, and and I guess this happened this past Saturday. So when Marfugel says, oh yeah, we've got members that already got a special order to be shipped out, that's why it happened the way it happened, because this was a quiet little thing that was supposed to happen. All right, let's go into... I'm trying to keep it on that area. All right, let's look at this one here. Okay, it says top Russian commander arrives in Belize for war games. Remember I told you that Putin saying, okay, we're going to do war games? That's a front, people. They're just letting, because they know how stupid Biden is. You know? They know how he is. So, that's all I'm going to say. But it says Russian most senior informed saying this, that they are Chief General Staff General Valery, blah, 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 Soviet Union ahead of 10-day drill known for Allied Resolve 2022. Large joint game held between two, which starts Thursday. So this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, third day into it, what do? They send over the jets and some of our Americans over into Poland because, they didn't think this was going to be another game, right? The exercise comes to Moscow during a place of troops on the border of Ukraine and battalion tactic groups and so on and so forth over there. Here's what they said. U.S. officials for weeks have said more than 100,000 Russian troops are along the Ukraine-Russia border, and roughly 30,000 near that Russian border on the western area of it. So they got 130,000, and then let's see. So right now Russia is at about 140,000 troops. Now, we only sent over how many? But how many other countries sent something too? Interesting, right? Yeah. And it says, we're not looking at this exercise in a vacuum or understanding senior military leaders much involved with facility buildup for believing is destabilizing and unnecessary. And so, yeah. And rising threats from Ukraine and their own exercise. And it says nearly 3,000 U.S. troops have arrived over there in Poland. So think about it. 3,000 to 130,000. What do you think that is? Massive slaughter, right? All right. And then the other thing is, let's see. And the reason why they're excused to send that 3,000 people over there is to evacuate any Americans, citizens left in the country of Ukraine. So, yeah. Now, I know on my Twitter feed, I believe it was in there. Yeah, I think it was in my Twitter feed with the French President Macron and the other president there from Ukraine. Remember? And you saw the picture, and Macron was like winking, like, "Okay, you're about to go to the slaughterhouse." Mm-hmm. See, a lot of people, here's the thing, remember the book from the T-Man, what was it? The State of War or something like that, or War Games or something. I forgot the name of it, but something to do with war. This could be one of those things where it's just a front, meaning they're going to send Biden the message that this is just war games, so you don't need to send too many troops over. When, Russia has over 130,000. Okay, that's one. Number two, Russia has a lot of troops in their military. Right? Who's to say some of those troops might have gotten on airplanes to fly over into the United States under different types of passports and are in this country around the White House? I'm just questioning possibility. Because what are they going to do? They said in this one little statement here, they're trying to weaken and destabilize Ukraine. Well, we know that Ukraine is friends with who? Putin, or the Bidens, right? Because their investments and stuff. So they're going to try to weaken and destabilize Biden financially. Think about it. Because they hit maybe Ukraine's certain oil reserves. I'm just saying Russia could be hitting those. Maybe that's part of their exercise. Say, oops, one missile slipped, it all of a sudden hit one of your oil rigs. You know what I mean? Or mining things, right? And we blew up your assets, Biden, I'm just saying, think about it, question things, And then at the same time, some of the other Democrats invested in the same thing. They blew up their assets, right? So they're going to start to destabilize the Democrats with their finances on their investments over there in Ukraine, right? But yet Biden's believing, oh yeah, this is just war games. We're only going to send 3,000 troops. So what better way to get after the Democrats is blowing up their assets? I'm just saying, what a genius plan, I mean, if you read that T-Man's book about, war games and stuff like that, or whatever the name of the book was, but it dealt with a state of war or something like that. I could see T-Man doing that, saying, hey, made a deal with Russia. Maybe it's not on paper, it's not in the National Archives, but it's just something, that was said to Putin. I don't know. Maybe it's a business deal thing. I don't know. I'm just questioning things. And it'd be a genius thing to say, hey, man, if you can destabilize Biden and the Democrats, we'll do this when I get back in office. you know, or if any of my family members get back in office, we'll do this for you. If you can do that, I think it's a genius war plan, genius war plan. But I could see that unraveling, and everybody will say, "Oh no, it's World War III. We're coming to an end." Blah blah blah. We got U.S. troops, and we got Poland troops, and we got African troops, and we got whatever troops from all over these different countries coming in, thinking it's war games. What a genius plan, man! What a genius plan, right? All right. I'm sorry. You just got to question things like this because it's getting to the point where, you know, they're relying on people being that stupid not to think for themselves and not to question things. And it's happening to our politicians where the politicians are not questioning these things. I'm really shocked that the Republican Party didn't even question these kind of things. I mean, yeah. It is what it is. But anyway, so that's pretty much that on that subject. And then I want to try to get to some of the other information here that we have for you guys. I don't know. What do you guys think about any of this? Do you think maybe that's what's happening? I don't know. I'm going to look in the comment area real quick here. Nope, nobody's not saying. Everybody's being quiet. That's what I thought. Oh, goodness. That's great. But you know what I'm saying? You definitely gotta question these things, right? What if this thing about the war in Russia and Ukraine, it really isn't that? It's all about the Democrats' financials and reversing the money trails and finding it and actually blowing it up. Maybe that's the actual war. Sounds good, right? I don't know. That'd be great, but I don't know. Yeah, amazing stuff. Okay, let's see. Top Commander, Afghanistan evacuation hampered by appeal from the White House officials of members of Congress have reported. Well, Biden and the Democrats, they basically hamper and appeal everything. If it's not part of their control freak plan, then yeah. I don't even need to open that one up. Let's see, overnight defense and national security defense gets okay by civilian evacuees. Okay. Let's see, top Russian commander. We did that one. Let's see. Michael Bloom to head the Defense Innovation Board. Oh boy, this is a big one. I don't know if you guys did any reverse trails on Michael Bloomberg, but he was in trouble with a piece of real estate in New York on a high rise that he was building, and he got in trouble with that where he ended up, I think, going to court, being sued. He lost and owed millions of dollars and stuff like that. So seriously, if he's supposed to be a smart businessman, wouldn't you not put him in charge of head of Defense Innovation Board? I mean, see, this is how stupid and corrupt our alphabet soup agencies, along with anything that is for justice in this country and for the people, would not do. They would not put him at head of Defense of Innovation Board. He is probably going to make the most. I'll fortune tell it in the future. Not that I am one, but I'm just going to say he's probably going to basically corrupt the whole situation of the defense area to the point where, remember we were talking a long time ago about the black budget, deep state stuff. He's probably going to crank in billions more dollars into those two big budget plans, on top of him pocketing millions of dollars like Biden's. Okay. And he's going to end up basically a lot richer than what he is right now. I'll put it that way. And the corruption and the connections and the ties are all going to be intertwined exactly the same way, using the same financial mistakes as all the Democrats did. And it's going to be hooked to that way. So, yeah. And all the ones I'm probably thinking about. All right. Let's see. Here's an update here. We got Lithuanian president to ask for permanent, what is this? Permanent U.S. troop presence. So I imagine as the war games are ramping up here for Ukraine and Russia and all them, that we're going to see all these little countries around the Ukraine area and have everything beefed up more with all these different countries coming in. And Russia's like, okay, well, you go ahead and bring in your 3,000, your 5,000, or your 10,000. Keep, he'll have like 20 countries around him doing the same thing. And I don't know about you, but in high school, I was a master at, and in fact, I even won my World War game. I remember that day. My teacher was like really proud of me and shocked. But yeah, when it comes to strategic command and strategic situations, I won my thing in high school on that. But I imagine as all these little countries come in and back up Ukraine area with thousands of troops from different regions, including even stuff that's not in the Europe area, because they're supposedly doing and portraying into war games, as they call it, on the Russia side, but they're really not. There's something else planned for that situation. That you're going to see Russia vamp up more troops than the 130,000. I'll put it that way. And it's not to, I see what Biden's thinking. He's thinking to destabilize the Russia area, but he doesn't realize that Russia is backed up by China, and China's going to double cross all the Democrats, including Biden. Because why? Russia, you're going to say why, and I'm going to say because Biden made some deals with China that didn't come through. Okay. So, yeah, it is what it is. And he's not good for his word. He's a trickery person kind of thing. And I don't even need to look at him and face him or touch him or be around him. You can look in someone's eyes and know where they're at too, All right. So, yeah, I'm drinking coffee throughout my show to keep me going. All right. The other thing is, let's see what else is happening. It says White House here saying no evacuations of U.S. citizens are being planned for Ukraine. See? So you see the double side of the sword. First, he sends over, according to the other article, they said we're sending 3,000 people or 3,000 troops over there, okay, on the U.S. side to get the U.S. citizens out. But yet now White House is saying, oh, no, there's no evacuation for U.S. citizens being planned for the Ukraine area. Do you see the double-sided sword that Biden is like? And that's why China is pissed off with the Democrats and Biden and Harris, because China can't trust the Democrats. Do you see that? There's more, a lot more. So China decides, okay, I'm going to go to Putin because Putin's good for his word. He'll back me up. We'll back him up. Okay. In the meantime, Putin making deals business-wise or trade deal-wise with T-Man when he was in office. This is after the fact, now that they're getting the supposedly records from the National Archives that has nothing to do with anything. Okay. But what that is a scare tactic, basically, that the alphabet soup that starts with an F is going in and getting all of T-Man's what they call top secret crap from the National Archives. Well, I'm sorry, in the National Archives, the whole National Archives are open to the public, even on the internet. Now, there's only one area of the library that is what they call presidential suite, that has an actual presidential lock area of certain things, right? You guys know this from past decoding on certain situations. I've already taught this a long time ago, like over 2 years ago. And I'm not going back into it now. But do you see how the Democrats are retaliating against their own crap that they're doing. And it's backfiring on them. Every single move that they do. It makes no difference if it's going to get the, National Archives shit from T-Man. It makes no difference if they're, only sending a little bit of troops over Ukraine area. It makes no difference what it is. All that shit is going to backfire. They're thinking, oh, the Democrats are freaking out because, we got to go to war because this COVID thing didn't work. Well, guess what? Guess the other part's going to backfire too. It's going to backfire several ways too. It's going to be worse than the COVID. Far worse. They're going to blow up their assets, basically, and they don't even know it. Don't even know it. I mean, how stupid can the Democrats be? Really? Anyway, but yeah, this is why you don't trust a Democrat. That's why there's a lot of Democrats right now turning and going to the Republican side because they're like, man, we can't trust the Democrats. They don't know what the hell is going on. And every time they do try something, it ends up burning their ass on it, So, it is what it is. What can I say? God is good, All right. So here it is. Let's see. Air Force gives 9 religious exemptions for vaccine mandates. I don't need to go over that because basically the COVID is dead. I'm proud of all you guys not wearing masks out there. You've grown up. I'm so proud of you guys. You realize that your own immune system can take care of you. You're awesome and take care of your health. And I've shown you how to do that in past shows too. And what to eat, right? So you don't get any of the different variants of COVID. And as a new variant comes out, we'll counter it. We'll tell you what to do. All right. Same thing with this war that they're supposedly thinking it's going to be World War III in Ukraine area and Russia. Yeah, no. All right. It's not going to happen. Anyway. Texas National Guard soldier signed to border dies in an accidental shooting. Now, let's get into that because there's not a lot of talk about the south border. Now, about 2 years ago, I did a major thing on it, how many illegals, and it's been going on since history, right? But for some reason, this year, this past 2021, we had, and going into 2022, we had 1.6 million illegals cross the border. Did you know that? Imagine 1.6 million illegals coming into the south border. This is just the south border. This is not including the Canadian border people. This is just the south border, which is off of Texas and California and Arizona area. 1.6 million. Now, you probably heard on your TV news, according to Biden's job reports, that we have came back and we have given 1.6 million. We have now 1.6 million new jobs that people have taken. Well, guess what? Same number as how many illegals came across the border. Think about that. Questioning that. Isn't it weird that he's making himself look good where he covered and said there's 1.6 million new jobs that we created and people have taken? But yet it equals the same amount of numbers of illegals coming across the border? Are you scratching your head yet? Are you connecting the dots? Do you see that nothing has happened in our economy? There's no improvement in our economy at all. We're going to talk a little bit more about that too. Anyway, Texas Army National Guard soldier signed U.S.-Mexican border was accidentally shot and killed Monday on a non-mission related incident, according to Texas Military Department. Military Department now. That's Texas Military Department. See that? I'm going to define that right there. Texas Military Department. Now, the service member who was not identified pending a family notification was assigned to Operation Lone Star, Governor Greg Abbott Republican Border Enforcement Operation. Shooting occurred at Breckville the soldier was pronounced dead on the scene. So let's see. General Tracy Norris, General of the Texas Military Department, said in a release that we focus on supporting soldiers' families, providing available resources. Something fishy going on there, right? According to Army Times, soldier was sitting in the front seat of a parking car at Fort Clark Springs near Brockville, where his unit was doing a swimming training when he was handed his handgun to another soldier sitting behind him. The gun went off the moment, piercing the seat, and then the first soldier's back, Army Times reported. So I guess they were sitting in a automobile or something, and one soldier was behind the other one, so one's on the front seat, one's in the back seat, and I guess the back seat one was trying to hand it to the front seat, and evidently the gun went off. Well, where did we see that before? Sounds to me that they're just kind of, little suspicious there, and you know what I'm thinking. Let's see. And so they have evidently Texas guardmen on the south border right now, and probably have been for a while. They call Operation Lone Star. And evidently this is not the only one. There's been other ones also down there. It says about a year ago there was another one accidentally shot and killed, but it was an alcohol-related incident. And then there was another one supposedly with suicide involving personal weapons. And let's see, what else? And it says it has no connections, federally controlled National Guard force at the border. So I don't know who. Maybe this is a separate Patriot group. Maybe this is part of a different type of armed service situation. I'm not sure on that one. But I thought that was kind of interesting because a lot of you guys don't realize that, and I've posted this in my Twitter, where we have legals coming through the right process and going through the gates and getting their things scanned and all that stuff. And if they want to become a citizen, they do it the right way. You know what I mean? They get their papers, they pay their fees, and they go for their interviews and all this stuff, right? But you have 1.6 million illegals not doing it that way. Now, here's the thing. From a rough, I don't know how much the total thing is on it, but I'm just saying a rough estimate. Let's just say I'm going to do an even number of $5,000 in fees for a person to be legally going through the process of becoming a citizen, or becoming, and at least getting a green card, okay? And doing their interviews and all that. I'm just saying, I don't know if that's the exact number. I'm just using 5,000, okay? Let's say you times that 5,000, and we're going to do this online live because I think it's really important. People need to know, okay? Doing it the right way and doing it the wrong way. Teaching you against moral and ethics, I guess, that a lot of the politicians don't have. But let's just say we have $5,000 worth of fees that you have to pay for, right, to be a person legally wise, to come in the U.S. and stay, and to get the residency, then get your green card, and then become, a citizen if you want to be, right? Or just renewing and being another green card person, whichever you want to do. So hang on, I'm going to give you some numbers here. Okay, here's what the U.S. government is losing. Now, here's the thing. If you guys did the research on the South Border stuff, on all the shows that I've done in the past, little and currently, you'll know that there's human trafficking, sex trafficking involved. It's connected to the Democrats. It's definitely connected to Biden. And it's definitely connected to the Democrats and their little agendas dealing with the children and human trafficking. Okay. Now, is it the money that they're looking at? Because here's the thing. If they took every single person, and I don't care if it's an infant to an elder person that comes across the border illegally, of that 1.6 million that just came across our border, knowing they pay $5,000, however money they get it through the farming or their jobs of farming or whatever they're doing, okay? They pay that $5,000. The U.S. government has lost, let me see here, hang on, $8 trillion. Okay? Think about that number. For 1.6 million illegals crossing the border over a year, the U.S. government has lost $8 trillion. I just did the math. You want to see the math? Here's the math. Right there. Okay? $8 trillion the U.S. government has lost allowing these illegals in our country. And who's picking up the bill to pay for food, water, shelter, medicine in our taxes? All the U.S. citizens, regardless of what party they belong to, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent. Why is our taxes going up? They got to cover this $8 trillion per year. How are they going to do it? There you go. Does that give you food for thought yet? I don't know. Are you awake? I don't know. When you can't put food on your table anymore because the cost of everything went up, it's because they're covering it with $8 trillion worth of losses coming from these illegals coming across the south border alone. I haven't even begun to get into an investigation of how many illegals come across the north border yet. And think about that north border on the Canadian border. That's a hell of a lot bigger than our south border is. And there's areas where not even they can be tracked because there's no bounty, what do you call it, hunters there, whatever they call them up there in Canada. Because it's terrain area. So imagine there, if you look at mileage on how long the south border is to the mileage of the north border, you probably can times it times 10 of that $8 trillion that the U.S. lost. And remember the state of mind of that Canadian president, what's happening currently with him. Think about how many illegal Chinese that might be coming through the north border. What do you think? Think about it. Let alone any other country. Shoot, Haiti, listen to this. They think they got a problem on the south border, right, with the Haitians and Africans and other countries coming in our south border, which they know and really has been happening currently right now. Think about how much easier it would be for them to come in through the Canadian border. I'm just saying, think about it. I don't know. Are you guys awake yet, or do you guys need more coffee? All right. So $8 trillion, 1.6 million, but yet Biden's saying, "Oh yeah, that's how many people we put in new jobs." Yeah, what you put in jobs are all the people in the south border, whichever level of pay they may get, which will probably be the lowest pay. But it's a job that's been filled by an illegal. Probably. All right. Now, here's the other thing. And by the way, I know through the show, so they can be lengthy, about an hour maybe, but I'm going to post the show later into Twitter. You guys can share my show with other people, okay, if you want to. You can also donate to PayPal. The link's over there. I don't know where it is. Just look for my PayPal link. I don't know where it is anymore. Maybe it's in my YouTube channel. I don't know. Nobody's giving to it right now, but whatever. Yet you're getting all this information for free. Amazing. Amazing stupidity of out there. All right. Let's see. What else is happening? Okay, we did that one. He did that one. He did that one. Let's see. Okay, U.S. approves $100 million in sales to upgrade Taiwan's missile defense system. Wow, how stupid is America? Really? $100 million. Yet our prices at our grocery store are so high. Normal middle class and poor families can't even afford to go to the grocery store. They're relying on food pantry systems. But yet we have dumbass Democrats, and I'm going to call them out on the red carpet for what they are, dumbass American Democrats, approving $100 million of sales to upgrade Taiwan's missile system when we can't even feed our own people. Shame on you. May you burn in hell. I'm not even going to open that one up because that makes me furious. We should not be supporting any other country's crap. We should be supporting our own damn country on all levels. Not any other stuff. You know, I can guarantee without even me looking into this and connecting the dots into this article where the U.S. approved $100 million in sales to upgrade Taiwan missiles, I can guarantee it's either hooked with either money in their back pocket, either a trade deal that they want to do with them, or it's connected to investments that they have with them, period. Those three areas. I don't have to look any further. Shame on you. All right. Army plans to microgrid electric vehicle fleet for the first climate strategy. Well, some of you guys don't realize that basically the Democrats want you not to drive any more gas cars. Nothing that runs by gas. No lawnmowers, no motorcycles, no mini bikes, no go-karts, no cars and no trucks, no vans, no RVs, no etc. Everything they want you to drive is electric. What's going to happen when a tsunami happens? What's going to happen when you get a flood? What's going to happen when you have a major electrical storm? What's going to happen if we get hit by an EMP from the sun? The shit's going to be worth shit. You can't drive it. It's fried. But yet, we're starting already with the Army, so what's going to happen? They're already trying to what? Weaken our armed services. It is what it is. And this stuff about climate strategy and climate control and all this crap coming from Gore and little Thurza or whatever her name is and all this shit, they are paid by Soros to move the climate strategy, the green deals, and the climate control issues forward. They're bought and paid for by Soros and the elites. So anytime you see any of that crap, that's what it's all about. If I was any kind of intelligent military corporate general or general 5-star of anything, I would not allow any electric vehicles in any part of any branch of any service of any kind of military situation of the U.S. until they can figure out a safety backup for any of those other issues I told about, meaning an EMP blast or a flood or a tsunami or electrical storm and all this stuff if the batteries get fried. I don't know if you guys recently looked at a Tesla car and how much does the battery cost to replace it in the car. I've actually physically on the streets, I've not interviewed anybody, but I physically asked a few people that were driving on the streets because I was at a store do you know how much your batteries will cost if your batteries fail in your car and you need a new battery? They're like, no, we don't know. But if we had money to buy this, I'm sure we got money to buy the batteries. Really? They don't realize the batteries are as expensive as buying a new car. Now think about that with the Army plans here of electrical vehicle fleets. Is this another one of those black budget deals where, okay, we're going to waste billions of dollars on electrical vehicles that are going to fail us in all those other events? And then all of a sudden now we got to repurchase it and it's going to double that money? I'm just saying, think about it. You know, they can't see past their fucking back pocket full of money for some reason. I don't get it. That's not good business move, people. I don't care what level of intelligence you're at. You want to look for the long running. What is going to be the long running stable thing to do to make your money? They're not doing it that way. These are all quick fixes, right? Quick fixes and quick money making things. But they're not seeing the bigger picture. Don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe that's why they need to make me president. So somebody does get it. I don't know. I just don't get it. All right, let's see. Let's move on to the next one. I'm not even going to open up that one. But you guys can research your own climate study stuff. All right, Texas governor seeks to block vaccine mandates for National Guard members. Well, we know a lot of stuff's been happening in our armed services. They got the religious exemption, and now we got Texas with the National Guard, and he's trying to do stuff. So it's pretty much out the window, people. I'm proud of you guys not wearing masks out there. Build your immune system. Build it strong, like strong Americans. All right. Judge orders Air Force to pay $230 million in Texas church shooting. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Well, I'm sure that one, if the Air Force is to pay $230 million in a Texas church shooting, I can guarantee that was probably a corrupt bunch of Air Force people. I don't have to open that one. That one was probably, even without me opening up, I can probably say that it was a bunch of corrupt Air Force people that ended up shooting people. That was basically a rogue plan that was probably designed by the Democrats. Okay, I'm not going to open that one up. Navy investigating death of SEAL candidate after Hell Week. Well, some of you guys in the services know what Hell Week is. Some don't. It is the most gruesome drilling of drills to see if you're fit to be a SEAL. Okay. And sometimes when you mix rogue agents on someone that you don't like in a SEAL situation, you want to kill them off because you don't want them to become a SEAL, because they'll end up turning you in for corruption. Well, I can tell you that's probably what happened to this Hell Week situation on this, and this is probably why they're investigating it. And yet the truth still won't come out because it's going to be top secret and end up sealing it. Okay. And yeah, but at least they said this. So this is enough right here to give you the evidence. You know what I mean? All right. Army probe details frustrations with White House state over Afghan evacuation report. The Army and shoot, if I had $1 for every time I probe something in our armed services or different levels from minor to major levels of government and politicians, I'd be over a billionaire by now. But it is what it is. What else? Oh, I have to talk about this. I forgot to talk about this. Go to my Twitter page. You guys know that this coming Sunday is going to be Super Bowl for those who love football. But here's the thing. I posted in there's going to be a 15% increase in all your Super Bowl favorite foods. So be prepared when you go to the store. Okay. I also gave you a list in my Twitter page on what stores to go to. This is pertaining to the south part of the United States, of what stores to go to get your groceries cheaper. In future shows, I may show you how to cook cheaper using utility meats, but also other things using ethnical brands in certain things that would make your cost of your groceries and your meals at home be cheaper, or even if you're living off the grid, be cheaper than you would do normally. Okay, so watch for upcoming shows on that. Let me think what else, because we try to inform you on everything. Oh, yes, I forgot about this one too. Let me see. We still with us? Okay, good. Hello from wherever you're at over there. She's still okay. All right, and oops, wrong one. There we go. Give me a minute. I gotta find it, guys. I gotta find it. Give me a minute. All right, where did I put it? It's way in the bottom. This is a very important one. There might have to be another show, but we're going to talk about how the South Border people, I'll have to do this for another show, but we're going to talk about how the South Border people that come from South America and Mexico come into the South Border, get established, which I've shown on previous shows, and then with the money that they have, instead of investing it back in American stuff, American goods, they send it back to Mexico. I'm going to show you an inside scoop on how they're doing it. And remember, Biden is taxing anyone on YouTube or any social media platform that is making money off of like PayPal or Venmo or whatever it is. They're different platforms. Biden's taxing them after, I think, a couple $100. So I might have found a loophole using the Mexicans' way to get our funds in our bank without being taxed from you and other individuals. And I'm going to show you how the illegals are doing it and sending money back to their homes and not investing it in America. If they can do it, then guess what? Anyone on social media, YouTube, and so on and so forth can do the same thing that the Mexicans are doing. And I'm going to show you this in a future show. So look for it. Stay tuned to my Twitter page. In the meantime, I think this is going to be it for me today, but we'll do that in another show. So look for it, and we'll see you next time. This is Boho with the info. We'll post this in our Twitter page for you guys to rewind and replay. And, oh, you guys need to see the links, don't you? You poor people. I will give you those links. Give me a minute here. All right, we're going to give you those links. Here's the links on the show today on information that we have shown you. So we're going to let that run through. But again, we're going to post this show over into Twitter so you can replay the show and also share my show with other Marfugo family people or any patriots out there. And look forward to the next show of showing you how our illegals across the South Border are making money and how they're doing it by wiring their money to the South Border, over the border, and where they're not getting taxed and avoid being taxed. And if they can do it, then guess what? All people that are doing YouTube channels or doing any kind of social media and getting funds from their people that are watching them, that are giving funds to them, then, we can do it the same way they did. And we're going to show you everything. We're going to expose it all. So watch for that show. There'll be upcoming show, and we'll see you at another time. This is Boho with the info. We're over and out.